I've been on the World Wide Web for over 16 years, and there's one component of human behavior regarding the internet that pretty much boggles my mind. Whenever someone sees a different opinion, different viewpoint, different cultural perspective, different religious belief, or different idea than the ones they share, instead of them just clicking out of the web page which presents these ideas, instead, what these people try to do is they try to bicker and argue with the webmaster in a desperate attempt to get said individual to agree with their opinion of of certain matters. And this has happened to me on my blog www.shawnsjames.blogspot.com and my very own YouTube channel. And it's one of those components of human behavior that has boggled my mind. You would think if people are intelligent enough to go out here and buy a computer, learn how to use said computer, they would understand that if you go on a place such as a World Wide Web, you would understand that the first word of World Wide Web is world. And that would mean everyone on the planet would have a computer, and the people who are producing content for internet websites on this World Wide Web would have the same right to express themselves just as you would. And this being a World Wide Web, you would understand that you are going to encounter people with different beliefs, different ideas, different cultural values, different social values, different religious values, and different personal values than your own. And that when you go to said pages, not everyone is going to agree with each other. And that's just part of what being on a World Wide Web is. Unfortunately, when people go to the World Wide Web, many are expecting to see people expressing the exact same views, exact same values, exact same ideas, exact same religious beliefs, exact same cultural beliefs as their own. And that's just mind boggling to me, especially when these people participate in behaviors like going to somebody else's webpage and insisting that this person go and agree with them. They will literally sit there and type up 15, 16, 17 page documents in a desperate attempt to try to convince someone to to agree with their viewpoint. Or they'll go to a comment section and try to flood it out. This has happened on my blog a couple of times, and it would just boggle my mind how someone would take that much time to go to a web page where they see clearly they disagree with the content and try to convince someone that their opinion is the right opinion and try to get them to agree with them. It was baffling to me. I mean, when I was on the World Wide Web for many years, and I've been on it for many years, what I do is whenever I see an opinion I don't agree with, I just simply hit the red X or I hit the back button and I move on because I understand that, this is a World Wide Web. This is that the person has a right to express their opinion. And under the Constitution of the United States and the First Amendment, that person has a right to present their viewpoint on this World Wide Web. I have no right to try to convince that person that my opinion is the only opinion or that my opinion is a better opinion. I understand that this is their slice of the web, this is their viewpoint, and they have a right to present that viewpoint just like I have a right to present that viewpoint. There is no, I'm going to try to convince you that my opinion is the only opinion. This is just the most mind-boggling thing and mind-boggling behavior that people participate in on this World Wide Web. They're going to try to convince you. And what is even more insane than them trying to convince you is that some of these people will try to argue with you for days on end. And instead of them saying, look, this person has presented an opinion I don't like, and I'm going to, put a period at it and just click out of this page, what they do is they sit there and they try to keep going back and forth with you. And then when you don't respond to them, they try to flood your page. And this has happened on my blog several times and even on this YouTube channel a couple of times. And I've had to wind up deleting people and blocking people because of this insanity. And it just, again, it boggles my mind with this human behavior where people, whenever they're presented with ideas that are different than their own, they're going to go out here and try to convince you their opinion is the only opinion. They are always right. And they're going to try to argue with you, you know, for hours on end, going back and forth. Not understanding, again, time is a precious intangible that you can't get back. And I think about all the time people waste, you know, trying to argue with someone all the way across the country that you don't even know, a complete stranger, or someone halfway across the globe that you disagree with. Instead of saying, look, you know, this time on the World Wide Web is something I can use to enrich my life, to make it better, to improve the quality of my life. You know, I see a page I don't like, I should just click out of it and move on to pages where they feature content that I am interested in looking at. That's the way I see the World Wide Web, and that's the way I've seen it ever since I first got on it in the year 2000. And that's the way I think everybody should see it, because to me, this is the World Wide Web is a big place. Everybody has a right to their opinions. Everybody has a right to their viewpoints. And if you don't like what's on somebody's page, you have the option of leaving. As simple as that. But there are people out here, they want to go out here and try to convince people, and even some of them are even crazy enough to think they're going to go out here and censor certain web pages or certain YouTube videos because they are offended by the content placed on them. These are the type of people who run around flagging videos and getting angry because somebody presented a viewpoint that they didn't like. They'll call that hate speech, and all it is somebody presenting an opinion they disagree with. And that's just mind-boggling to me, because I look at human behavior and it boggles my mind how someone will literally stop their entire life because somebody presented a viewpoint on a web page they disagree with. They will sit there for hours on end, and I've seen this, writing replies to comments in a blog, on a YouTube video, or writing a webmaster, trying to go back and forth with said individual, trying to bicker and argue with them, trying to attack them. And this is a waste of time. As I see it, you know, you see a video you don't like, you see a blog you don't like, you just simply click out of it, and then you move on with your life, because life is too short to spend arguing with people, bickering with people, forming campaigns to try to have people's websites, you know, taken down because they present an opinion you don't like. Now, I can see if they were producing some sort of obscene content like a ghetto gaggers, but in many of those cases with your ghetto gaggers, most of these same people who say that they disagree with content online are silent, which is pretty much, again, insane to me. I mean, you say you don't, you want to have sites taken down, but you only want to have them taken down when they present opinions you don't like. But when they're producing content that's clearly obscene, you're silent. And that boggles my mind, again, about the human behavior online. You see opinions you don't like, you see opinions you disagree with, and when you can't convince people that your opinion is the only opinion, you try to have sites, videos flagged, you try to have websites taken down. But when there are egregious measures of misconduct, there's nothing but silence from these same people who consider themselves to be the police of the World Wide Web. And they're going to make everybody agree that their opinion is the only opinion. Their ideas are the only ideas. And they'll sit there and complain that, you know, I hate this content, I hate these viewpoints, when the solution is staring them in the face every day. If you are educated enough to operate one of these computers or operate one of these smartphones, then you should understand that if somebody is producing content that you don't like and you don't want to watch it, there's that option right there called a red X at the right-hand side of the PC and the left-hand side of the right-hand side of the Mac and the left-hand side of the PC. And you can use that because you are paying for this internet. And if you don't want to watch certain content, then you don't have to. That's the whole point of the World Wide Web, is that everyone has a choice to produce the content that they want. and everyone has a choice to watch the content that they want. If you don't like certain content, you just simply don't watch it. It's as simple as that. But most human beings, as I'm seeing, can't figure out these simple and logical points regarding the World Wide Web and how to use it. I figured this out way back in the year 2000, and I'm not the most tech savvy guy out there, but I understand that if I'm on this World Wide Web, again, it means everyone has a choice on this World Wide Web to produce whatever content that they want. And if I don't like said content and it is not promoting any sort of, criminal matters or violent matters or obscene material by a community standard, then I need to just click out of it and move on with my life. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.